Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. Lots to discuss in today's video. We're going to talk about Ugarte ready and open to a January exit, and 15 months after signing him, Ineos ready to cut losses on Manuel Ugarte. Will he be sold in the January window? We're going to talk about sorry, about to sneeze. We'll talk about all the latest on that. But obviously, we have a game versus Wolves today. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about who's playing. It's going to be more of a discussion show than a news show, but we will get into the Ugarte news because we do play Wolves today. And anything but a win is a sackable offence. I've seen people saying, if we beat Wolves, you Amorim in. We have to beat Wolves. It's not beat Wolves and Amorim is amazing and we should all be Amorim in because we beat Wolves. Wolves have 2 points in 15 games. There is no excuse to not beat Wolves today. Wolves. 2 points. Wolves are on track to finish the season with 5 points. The lowest ever points tally is Derby County with 11 points. Wolves are on track to be the worst team in Premier League history, have not scored a goal in 2 months, have not won a game all season. Wolves. They make Southampton of last year look good. Now, the good thing about Ruben Amorim is Ruben Amorim's very good against the relegation sides. We beat Southampton, we beat Leicester, and we beat Ipswich under Ruben Amorim. In fact, most of Ruben Amorim's points have come against relegated and newly promoted sides. He's had more points versus relegated and newly promoted sides than anyone else. So we should be beating Wolves. I'd be shocked. I think Amorim will beat Wolves 3-0. I think we'll beat Wolves 3-0. But even if we beat Wolves 1-0 and it takes a scrappy penalty and we get outplayed, I will still be saying yeah, we won and we beat Wolves, but we were crap. It's I want Amorim not just to beat Wolves, but to give us a 3-0, to give us a performance where well, that was good. I don't want to be beating Wolves for a scrappy penalty or an awful performance. I think we win the game. I'd be shocked if we don't win. But if we lose to Wolves, drawing to Wolves is awful. But if we lose to Wolves, he has to be sacked. Wolves have not won a game all season. If we are the team to give Wolves their first win of the season, he has to go. Do you know how embarrassing that would be? If we are the one team that lets Wolves get a win this season, because they can't win a game. They're atrocious. They've got João Gomez out, who's their best player. This, for me, this is a game to get the goal difference up. This is a game I want to be winning 3-4-0. This is a game to get the goal difference up. This is a team to absolutely go and batter. Because they're crap. No offense, Wolves fans, but you are so crap. They lost to Forest, they lost to Palace, they lost to Villa. Chelsea beat them 3-0. Fulham beat them 3-0. They lost to Burnley. They lost 3-1 to Leeds. They're absolutely crap. They lost 4-0 to Manchester City. I want a 3-0 win. Someone's like, oh no, Alice, 3-0, that's a big ask. Standards. They've not won a game all season. They've not scored a goal in 3 months. I think they've scored about 5 goals all season. We're a team that can't keep clean sheets. If there's a game that we're going to keep a clean sheet in, it has to be this one. Wolves have scored 7 goals all season. To put that into context, next is Nottingham Forest, who have at least got 14 goals this season in second. Wolves have got the least amount of goals. 7 goals in 14 games. They've conceded 30. They have the worst goal difference in the league. They literally have lost 5 games in a row. They've literally lost. We have to pay them twice this month. They've lost 5. They've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They've lost 8 games in a row, Wolves. Yeah. They got a draw versus Brighton, a draw versus Tottenham, and they've lost 8 games in a row. We have to win. There's no excuses. We did scrape a 3-2 versus Burnley. I mean, if we scrape a win, I take it. We've got the 3 points, but I'd be peed off if we had to scrape a win. We need to win. We need a performance. 4-0. You know what? I hope you're right. I hope you're right, United Mandem. 4-0 win. We sleep easy. That's what I want. Standards went years ago when it comes down to the ownership. I'm telling you now, we'll not beat Wolves. It is the most Man United or Tottenham thing to let Wolves get the first win of the season. If it's not Man United, it'd be Tottenham. You know when like Wolves have been so bad they've not won a game all season, and you're just like, oh, it will be Man United or it will be Tottenham to give them their first win. It does feel like that, but no, I just think I've watched Wolves play. My stepdad is a Wolves fan, so I've watched a lot of Wolves play this season. They are so bad. Like, we look at Burnley. Burnley are nowhere near as bad as Wolves. Like, I've watched Wolves play with my stepdad a lot this season. Wolves are a different level of shocking. Like, honestly, a different level of shocking. I'm talking worse than Southampton of last year. Worse than Burnley. Like, it's bad. It is bad. If we see back and forth sideways football against Wolves, I swear, if Ruben Amorim sets us up defensively against Wolves, oh my, this is when Ruben Amorim lines up with like a million defenders on the pitch. Wow. My head would just go if Ruben Amorim sets us up. So Ruben Amorim better set us up with a little bit of attacking intent. Maybe he starts Maino, maybe he starts Ugarte, maybe he does something different. Who knows? Maino scored that. When I last went to Molineux, Maino scored that fantastic goal in the last minute. Apparently Real Madrid are thinking of sacking Xabi Alonso. So Xabi Alonso could be sacked. Arne Slot could be sacked before Ruben Amorim. Harry Amas has been named as Sheffield Wednesday's Player of the Month. We want to talk about a guy, but before we talk about a guy, because I need to talk about Ugarte because it's the title. I'm 7 minutes in. I just want to say positivity. We've been so negative lately. Harry Amas has been named as Sheffield Wednesday's Player of the Month. They love him. He's doing really well on loan. Considering the environment he's in, what's going on at Sheffield Wednesday, it's good to see him thriving. He's doing really well. I think he could do well in that left wing back role. I mean, with Dorgu and Dalot's been good the last 2 games to give it to Dalot, but with Dorgu and Dalot's performances this season, there's a spot there for Harry Amas. We sold Alvaro. Are we going to do the same with Amas? I think Amas is looking like Championship is tough. The thing with Amas is, I think Amas is going to be a good player, but we don't know if Amas' ceiling is he's going to be a good player for Everton or he's going to be a good player for Man United. Because Elanga we knew was going to be a good player, but Elanga's never going to be a good player in a title-winning side. Elanga's going to be a good player for a good Premier League side. James Garner we knew was going to be a good player, but he's a good player for a good Premier League side. Do you know what I mean? Is Harry Amas going to be a good player for a good Premier League side, or is he going to be a Man United level player? Because when you look at the academy talents, for me, the only ones that I thought were Man United level players were the Mainos, were the Greenwoods at the time, was the Rashford at the times. He's obviously at Barcelona smashing it. You know, we've got other great youngsters, and they're not quite Man United level, but they're great youngsters like James Garner, for example. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think Harry Amas will either be a James Garner or a Man United first team level talent. I'm convinced he's going to have a career in the Premier League. Alvaro was a Man United level talent and we let him go. And that was a big mistake. How does he remind you of Dan James? I'm shocked. Easy because he's quick. There's nothing about Harry Amas that reminds me of Dan James. I can't lie. Top clubs are ruthless. They do not allow underachieving, let alone as long as we do. Exactly. And it's not just underachieving with the manager. It's underachieving with the players. So I want to get into the news on Manuel Ugarte because we know that Ineos have made it clear they've sort of got this 2 seasons and you're out thing. If you don't produce the quality they want in your second season, they're willing to get rid of you. And all of that as well. And there has been some rumours that Ugarte could be pushed out. There's been a lot of suggestions. Man United are not happy with Ugarte. He didn't have a good first season. He's had a very poor second season. And Ineos have proven that to us. We know we give Ineos a lot of criticism, and rightly so. But what Ineos have proven is, if you've not done enough in your second season, they'll kick you out. Arnaldo and Højlund wouldn't leave. Arnaldo and Højlund simply would not leave. So they went, okay, well, we signed your replacement so you can stay and not play. So Arnaldo and Højlund left. That's what we're doing with Ugarte. He is being forced out. But there might be an opportunity to get him out in January, give us a bit more funds for the January window, and see if we can get one of our summer targets in January. Now, obviously, Galatasaray have been one of the teams that are interested in him. And then I want to get into news coming out that Ugarte himself might actually be open to the move and ready to say yes to an exit. Galatasaray are closely monitoring the situation of Manuel Ugarte, who's set to part ways with Manchester United. Galatasaray will knock on United's door for Ugarte during the January transfer window and are open to both loans and permanent deals. Despite managing him at Sporting, Ruben Amorim has been unimpressed with Ugarte's progress at Old Trafford. Now, Ruben Amorim's made it clear he's not been happy with what he's seen from Ugarte this season at Old Trafford. It's not the same Ugarte he knows. Now, in regards to Manuel Ugarte, permanent deal in January, yes. Loan deal in January, no. Whether you like Ugarte or not, for depth, we need him. If we're not getting money for him, sell him in the summer. Loan deal, no. Permanent, yes. Now, there was rumours in summer of Ugarte leaving and teams monitoring Ugarte, and apparently Ugarte wanted to stay and fight for his place. But Ugarte is now upset due to his lack of minutes. And it's now been said that Galatasaray are monitoring Ugarte, who's now set to leave Manchester United in 2026. Whether it's the summer or January is unknown, but they plan to approach United in the January transfer window, was said on Manuel Ugarte. And reports are now coming out that Ugarte himself is open to the Manchester United exit and is frustrated with his lack of minutes and would say yes to an exit out of Manchester United. Ugarte is ready for a move. So Galatasaray are monitoring the situation of Manuel Ugarte, who's set to part ways with Manchester United. Galatasaray will knock on Man United's door in January for Ugarte, and Ugarte is now open to that move to Galatasaray, and there's a feeling he would potentially say yes, which I'm not sure about, because I think if Ugarte was to leave Man United, it would be for another Europe top 5 club. I don't think he'd leave Man United and go Galatasaray, but some sources suggesting he would leave Man United and go Galatasaray. He would say yes to an exit, or is at least open to an exit. So that is quite interesting, because Ugarte was only signed 15 months ago, and it looks like Manchester United are already trying to move him on. And I guess that links to, Omar Barada's ruthless approach of 2 seasons and you're out. And I think to move him on in January after 15 months, I mean, that is pretty okay. It'll be interesting. I'm just scrolling through the chat here. I hope Man United doesn't end up regretting it when they sack Amorim. Well, Amorim's got a chance to batter Wolves and turn it around. Ugarte should go in January even if it's on loan. No, I wouldn't loan him in January. I was one of those who wanted Ugarte, but he's been poor. We needed Ugarte for off the ball because we lacked legs off the ball. We lacked a ball winner off the ball. But he doesn't have the quality on the ball. And in the Premier League, you need that quality on the ball. If we played a midfield 3 and it was Ugarte, Maino, and Adam Wharton, Ugarte could be quite good. Because Ugarte's not good on the ball, but he's good off the ball. And because Adam Wharton is unbelievable on the ball, I don't know if you saw his assist yesterday, and Maino is fantastic on the ball, that could work. Maybe. But I agree, it's not. I didn't want Ugarte massively, I'm not going to lie. But when we were linked to Ugarte and people were being negative about it, I was looking for the positives. I wasn't here yes, we have to get Ugarte. But when we were linked to Ugarte, there was a lot of negativity, and I was someone that was looking for the positives. Because naturally, I like to look for the positives. But yeah, I thought last season, the stick on Ugarte was a bit too much. I thought the first half of last season, people were just very, very critical of Ugarte. But lately, I've just seen that I don't think he's good enough. Now, he's getting frustrated with lack of minutes, reportedly open to leaving. There's reports coming out that Galatasaray are going to come in for him. Look, these reports aren't tier 1 sources of information. These reports aren't the most credible reports in the world, so we do have to take it with a pinch of salt. But we do know from credible journalists, tier 1 journalists have said there was teams looking at Ugarte in the summer, but United decided to keep him. Romano literally, I think it was Romano, was it Laurie Whitwell? One of them literally said there was some conversations about Ugarte leaving in the summer, but United decided to give him another season. The fact that he'd only been at the club 1 year and they were already having conversations in the summer about his future tells you everything, because they weren't having conversations about the Lick's future or Masraouy's future or Yoro's future after one season, but they were having conversations about Ugarte's future, decided to give him this season, which shows the club is more than willing to let him go. The player is apparently willing to go and there's interest in him. So we'll see what happens, but obviously it depends on how much we get offered for him, the wages, everything else included. I can see Xabi Alonso getting sacked before Amorim because Ineos aren't interested. They only care about the new stadium and money. I don't know if it's necessary about that. Man United have never been a sacking club. They like to give each manager's time, which is fair. But I do feel our standards have got too low. Like, giving a manager who gets sixth a bit of time because they've won a trophy, fairs. But 15th? Like, Ten Hag got time because he came third and won a trophy in his first season. And his second season, he may have finished 8th, but he won another trophy. So Ten Hag sort of got that time. Whereas with Ruben Amorim, he's come 15th. He's lost to Spurs. He let Ange Postecoglou beat him. And we're crap this season. I know we can win and go 6th, which is a decent position in the league. But it's like, I look at how many games we could have won to get up the league that we didn't win, that I felt was due to Amorim's tactical decisions. Amorim's tactical approach versus Everton meant that we didn't get a point versus Everton. Amorim's tactical approach versus West Ham means we drop points to West Ham. If we'd have got 3 points, if we'd have got those 5 points from beating West Ham and Everton, we could go into this Wolves game going, if we win this game, we're pushing second. And I think a good manager could have us pushing second right now because I think the other teams in the league are poor. But I think Ineos' egos will stop them sacking Amorim because they don't want to be wrong. We do naturally like to give managers time, and we are still in a position where we're only 2 wins away from getting Champions League football. So they're not going to sack him until Champions League football looks unrealistic. But I do think we've had a year to see that the football is not good enough under this manager, and they don't seem to want to act on that, whereas other clubs would. And maybe that's because the standards have got too low. Maybe that's because we've sacked so many managers that they're like, maybe we just have to give one of them time. But I also feel like managers have to earn time. And he's currently been our worst manager by a while. So yeah, has he earned time? I mean, where even is this new stadium? That is a good question. Where even is this new stadium? I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's all this talk about it, but they've not started building it. League is wide open with other clubs struggling. Shame we're not taking advantage. We have to take advantage today. The annoying thing is, we've got AFCON coming up. And AFCON, we're going to lose so many key players. So I know we're naturally going to drop points to Villa or Newcastle during AFCON. So what annoys me is, we had an opportunity to get 5 points, 5 more points from Everton and West Ham. And we've got an opportunity to get 3 points versus Wolves. We have a really easy run before the players go to AFCON. Wolves, Everton, West Ham. That's a really good opportunity to pick up 9 points because we're probably going to drop points to Villa and we're probably going to drop points to Newcastle and AFCON, yeah? But because we got those points, when we do drop points in AFCON, it might not cost us European football. I'm worried now that we get to the end of the season and we just miss out on European football and we look at that West Ham game. Because we can look at AFCON and the points drop, but we'll look at that West Ham game and we'll look at that Everton game and say, we were 2 points off European football and this was the opportunity and we didn't take it. Because if we don't get European football, we're not getting Adam Morton. We're not getting Elliot Anderson. We can still get Baleba, but do we want him? Do you know what I mean? Do we want him? That's the question. Now look, Man United have been doing stuff behind the scenes. They've been getting more scouts in. They've been looking at more young talents. But we need some proven, ready-made players. And we need someone in January, I think. I don't think we're going to get anyone in January. But I think we need someone in January. I really do. But I don't know if we're going to invest in January. We should avoid Baleba like the past. He did have a decent game the other day versus Villa, but he has been poor this season. West Ham draw last night with Brighton. They're not as bad as you think. Brighton are fuming. Brighton fans are fuming because Brighton have been pretty poor this season, they said. I know a Brighton fan, and he's saying that the football they're playing is shocking and they're poor. So, you know, I mean, look, a draw to West Ham, people might say it's not the worst result, but I think it's the manner in which we draw. We're 1-0 up. With about 1 million defenders on the pitch, we concede. We've got 10 minutes left. Let's bring on another defender. It's just a tactical approach. When Unai Emery literally took off Matty Cash for Buendia. It's 1-1 between Villa and Arsenal. There's 10 minutes left. If you're Aston Villa, you're taking a 1-1 draw to top of the league Arsenal. But Unai Emery went, I'm not going to put on another defender and play for the draw. I'm going to take off a defender in Matty Cash and bring on an attacker in Buendia. Who scores the winner? Buendia. Who takes the 3 points? Villa. Unai Emery did that. So I look at it and I go, look what he did. Amorim, take notes. Amorim, take some notes. So I just think attacking subs, because we're Man United at the end of the day. I get it if we're 1-1 with Man City with 10 minutes left, we want to defend and get the point. But we're Manchester United at the end of the day. We shouldn't be playing for draws versus West Ham. We shouldn't be playing not to lose football versus Everton and West Ham. When Everton have 10 men for 80 minutes and they go 1-0 up within 30 minutes, we play 60 minutes against the side that is 1-0 up with 10 men who were defending. We still had to have 5 defenders on a pitch. This is Man United. I want to see attacking football. This isn't me being anti-Amorim or being negative about Amorim on purpose. This is me saying, as a Man United fan, I am frustrated because not only are the results meh, but the football Amorim has played for the last year, it feels anti-Manchester United. We don't like to attack. We don't like to take risks. We don't play the youth. That's what I don't like. Not playing the youth. Not taking risks. Not attacking. This is interesting news. I mean, it's not related to Man United. Mo Salah expected to be left out of Liverpool squad for Inter match. No final decision yet, but 33-year-old is training, and it's not viewed as a punishment. It's more common sense after comments. So obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, Salah did that interview going in on Arne Slot. It's like Salah did that interview saying he feels like scapegoated, he feels thrown under the bus. Salah did that interview going in on Arne Slot. He's now been dropped. So now apparently he wants to stay. It'll be interesting to see if he's punished. But Salah's been dropped, so that's interesting. I wonder if they're going to kick Salah out in January like Ronaldo went, or if Arne Slot's going to get sacked. Because they're saying that the Salah thing is not a disciplinary issue. Is that because they don't want to kick Salah out in case they end up sacking Slot? Like, Salah's been dropped from this game, but maybe they don't want to kick him out in case they end up sacking Slot. That's interesting. That reminds me of the Ronaldo Ten Hag situation. Ronaldo made a few good points about the Glazers and stuff, but Ronaldo was wrong to do that interview. Salah's made a few good points that I agree with. And if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd probably back Salah over Slot. But he shouldn't be doing an interview with his experience. With 400k a week contract, saying that I've already earned my place, I don't need to fight for my place. He probably shouldn't have said that. Imagine if Salah goes on Piers Morgan. I don't think he will. I think politically, I can't imagine Salah would align with Piers Morgan politically. So I can't see Salah going on Piers Morgan. But Salah has been kicked out of the Liverpool squad, confirmed by David Ornstein. There's other football news going about, but a lot of it isn't to do with Manchester United. Were Liverpool wrong to extend Salah's contract? I think after the season you kind of had to extend his contract. But the problem is, how many times has a player had an amazing season, had their contract extended and been shite? I mean, Marcus Rashford came off the back of a 30-goal season. We extended his contract and then he was shite. Like, it's happened so many times in football where a player's been phenomenal, contract's been extended, then we've been shite. Like, how many times has that happened? So I guess, like, you look at, obviously, or like they get their big money move. Sanchez gets his big move to Man United, shite, because we offer him crazy wages. Maybe he's got nothing to work towards. Rashford gives that big new contract. Then he was quite poor after. Bruno was fantastic. Gave him that new contract. Probably hasn't been at the same level, but he doesn't suit Amorim's system. But then has saved us so many times. So I wouldn't say that Bruno didn't earn his contract. But there's a lot of big players like get a contract, like Van Dijk, like Salah, and then we've done it so many times with players in the past. Martial was fantastic, deservedly got a new contract, maybe not the wages, and then he was crap and always injured. So It's just what happens at Man United as well. Yeah, Aubameyang was great. Caught 350k a week, was poor. Sancho was great. Comes to United on crazy money, was poor. Yeah, I feel like Salah's been crap this season, and Salah should have been dropped. Should Salah have been dropped for 3 games in a row when Gakpo plays every minute? No, but he should have been dropped for that West Ham game because he was poor. But I think there is a bit of a we'll drop Salah and not Gakpo, and that would pee me off if I was Salah at Liverpool. Not at Liverpool, yeah. Good thing about this season is at least we're better than Liverpool. I mean, we actually are. That's the thing. Like the one real positive we can take from this season is one. Actually, no, we got two. We got 2 positives from this season. Yeah. No, actually 5. I'm gonna be positive. I can name 5 positives from the season. Matthias de Ligt, Brian Mbumo. The fact that Liverpool are rubbish, the fact that we still have a chance of European football, and Casemiro's resurgence. 5 positives. Look at that. I mean, there's other players that I think have had positives about them. Salah missing Jota on the field, he had a great spark. I do think that Diogo Jota's death has probably had a big impact on Liverpool this season. I think mentally, because I look at Liverpool and I think it's a side that looks mentally weak. I do think, and it doesn't get spoken about enough, but I do think that Diogo Jota's death must have been so hard for those players. Like, even if he wasn't starting every game, he's a very influential player in the dressing room. There's some players that they might not play every game for your side, but they might be the 3rd most important guy in the dressing room. Diogo Jota was friends with everyone at Liverpool. He got on so well with everyone at Liverpool. You know, we know that Bruno's the most popular guy in the Man United dressing room. We know that everyone loves Bruno. He gets on with everyone. Bruno's on the pitch every game. But there's some players that might not play every match for Man United, but Xerxes very popular in the Man United dressing room. Do you know what I mean? And Diogo Jota's like that. He was very popular in the Liverpool dressing room. He was very good friends with a lot of the players, particularly Andrew Robertson, but he got on well with Salah. That I can imagine that must have been so hard for those Liverpool players. It must have been. Alice, what's the Ugarte news? I missed it. So the Ugarte news basically is obviously United are open to letting Ugarte go in January. There's interest from Galatasaray who are going to knock on the door. Galatasaray are monitoring the Ugarte situation, and Ugarte is reportedly open to parting ways with United due to lack of game time. Look, there's been 3 or 4 reports about Ugarte. It's not the most credible. The guy that's reporting this has like 8,000 followers on X. He's not crazy credible. I'm going to be honest. There's been reports about Man United open to offloading Ugarte from very reliable sources. There's been reports about interest from Ugarte from reliable sources. I'm not saying this source isn't reliable. I'm just saying I don't know this source. But there's 2 or 3 sources of information that I'm not familiar with coming out today saying Ugarte is open to exit. Ugarte would say yes to exit potentially, and Galatasaray there and could knock on the door in January. If I was to be honest, I don't see Ugarte going anywhere in January. But I think if the offer came in, Ineos would be open to it. Ugarte would be open to it. But it is take with pinch of salt sources. So I will say that in terms of news. But listen, people, thank you for watching today's show. See you next time. Bye.